Alright, so we're going to look at a few different things. We've looked at, you probably don't need me to teach you this if you've got a solid mathematical base, but assuming these sorts of things is a loose assumption. So we're going to look at two scenarios, the first of which is negative powers, and the second of which is a fractional. I am looking for that, and my purple one, but I don't know if purple one just throw it here right now. Throw it. So we're going to look at negative powers and then we'll look at our fractional powers. And I'm going to just go through an example whereby, give me a number, 4, 5, 45, great. Divided by t to the power of 32, very good option, okay? Not the ones I've probably ever used before, but thanks, Sean, some of your best work. How else I want you to represent that in a different way. So show me how else I can write that equation, that expression. I shouldn't use t, sorry, I wanted x. How can I write that? Y equals 45 x to the power of, very good. Now that step is the step I would recommend anytime we're asked to derive something like this. Cool? Is that any different from anything else that we've done before?
No.
Very, very similar. The only thing that's different is we've got a negative power, but we can still use the same power rules as we did before. So if I'm deriving that dy dx, what happens to the 45?
Times it by negative 32.
Stays the same. 45 stays the same, correct? But then we multiply that by negative 32, and we multiply that by x to the power of negative 32 minus 1. Let's go through the steps nice and slowly. Which gives us, thanks Jean for your value number. Now you can solve the number for me. X to the power of negative 33. If I beat you, Jean, there's a problem here. Oh yeah, no calculator's called. Yeah, no, cool. Okay, so that is our derivative function. Now, I should do something. What should I do? My answer is correct, but what should I do? Not simplify it, but turn it back into the expression the way it was given to me. So I should turn it into x to the power of 33. Happy with that? What were the steps when dealing with negative powers? What was the first thing that I did? Or when I was dealing with a fractional power, with a power in my denominator, what was the first thing I did? Yeah, I put it in the numerator using a negative power, correct? That was my first step. Then what did I do? Derived it. How did I derive it? Did I use some magical trick?
Yeah.
I just used the normal power, correct? Then what did I do?
Turn it back into it.
Simplify it to the back of a fraction. Not a lot in that, correct? The real step is that first one. What do you think the most common error I see? What's the most common error I would see on this question? Not the negative. Negative 32 take 1 becomes negative. What's the most common error? This is not written as negative, but people will write that as negative 31. Why is that? Why do they do that? Taking 1 away from 32, it's 31, duh. So don't forget to, when we're doing negative numbers, keep the negative sign. And that's why I always recommend putting in our working negative 32 minus 1, because we're less likely to make that mistake. Cool? Let's move on to some fractional powers. Now, who wants me to take the numbers from John again? So Harry said leave it, so Harry's putting his hand up for fractional powers. Give me a function Harry,
Why is X squared?
that's not a fractional power.
So,
2 over 2, but I can represent that as 1, which is a fractional power. 1 over 2. Good. So we've got what? 1x 1 over 2. Is that it? That's the whole equation. Your call. That's it. Okay. So that's not how it's often represented though. It's often represented as square root of x, correct? Is my purple marker lying on someone's desk because this one is dying?
No.
No, I've lost it. That's okay. Okay. Y equals square root of x. I'm going to go back to the line. First step, represent that as a fractional power, which as Harry has indicated is x to the power of 1 or 2. Crazy part here, guess what I do? Power already, dy dx. So what's the old power? What's the original power? 1 over 2, so what happens to that?
1/2 times
1/2 times?
x with the power 1/2 take
What's a half take 1?
negative.
Very good, so the next line is 1 on 2, x to the power of negative half. How can I represent that?
There's 1 over 2 on root x.
Very good. Did I skip a step? Do you want me to slow that down? First step. Cool. What's the moral of the story? Do we need to use a different rule?
No.
No, what do we need to do?
Change it so it fits the way.
Yeah, change it so it's in a way in which the rules can apply very easily. And then what's the next step? Probably what else we have to be mindful of? Yeah, common mistakes when we're doing the subtraction of the 1, being very aware of what that means. Cool? If we understand what fractional powers are, if we understand what negative powers are, and we apply the rules correctly, we are very unlikely to make errors. Question 11, question 12. On we go.